Are you the one always planning everything for your family and getting no thanks in return? Always expected to do everything. You think of everything, plan everything, coordinate everything for your family, but your family doesn't give your efforts a second thought. They don't plan anything themselves, and they expect that you're always going to be the one to do it. I've been planning events. I've been hosting Christmas, Easter, Thanksgiving for the last 20 years. I would plan elaborate meals and presentations for all of the holidays. And it became where my family just expected. No one ever offered to host. There was never any, what can I bring? Can I help? It was just them showing up and enjoying all of the work that I put in. So if you are also living in a low effort family system, this video is for you. And I'm going to share today the 5 strategies to help you cope and manage when you're living in a family that basically puts zero effort into pretty much anything. Similar to many of you that grew up in a low effort family system, all of the holidays when I was growing up, no big deal. Christmas, no big deal. Halloween, Easter, Thanksgiving, even birthdays, no big deal. And no extra special celebrations. Everything was the bare minimum. And growing up, and then when I became an adult myself, I knew I wanted my life to be different. And I wanted my own family to be different. So I made a point of being different. I wanted to create a celebration for everything. Birthdays, we've always, gone a little bit over and above. Christmas is a big production. Halloween even is a big production for me. One of my favorite holidays, Halloween and Christmas. And, even Easter, Valentine's Day, every holiday that passes, I do something special, and I always put decorations up, even the smallest little thing. And my kids are 20 and 21, and I still buy them Valentine's gifts, an Easter little gift. I always just want it to be special because I didn't have that. So, and I've kind of carried that on with my own extended family. And then I would host Christmas, Thanksgiving, Easter, all of the big meal celebrations. And my family would show up for those holidays, ready to eat, basically. They would show up, not offer to bring anything, not offer to help, and they would just sit and enjoy themselves. So after a while, I would get really annoyed. And I started thinking, why are these people like this? Like, this isn't okay. And I would, when it's your family, you put up with so much nonsense from them. And I came to a point, only in the last, I'd say 5 years, where I finally said, okay, enough is enough. And I started to change, how the holidays looked. I made sure that everyone was given certain items that they needed to bring. And I think the big thing too is that you have to speak up. You have to ask, you have to tell, okay, everyone's coming. This is your job, your job, your job. Everyone needed to find something to do other than sitting on the couch having me do all the work. So today I want to talk about the 5 ways that you can manage and cope when you have a low effort family. Because so many of us are dealing with this, and so many of us are keeping our feelings bottled up inside. We put up with a lot of nonsense from family, and you don't have to. So stick around. I'm going to share my 5 tips for you and share a little bit of stories about my own experiences as well. Here's the thing. Your family is never going to change. So either you need to change, adapt, or you need to lower your expectations. And in my case, that's very hard for me because I've always just been an overachiever, I guess we'll say. And honestly, not even really expecting much, the bare minimum. But I think a lot of times, so in my case, I have a mother that's low effort and I have a sister that's low effort. And this is learned behavior, being a low effort person. You learn that from someone. And it's not a matter of just, the person's tired, they're overwhelmed. I'm talking about long-standing low effort behavior. And in my case, my mother was low effort and my sister took on the same traits. So when you're growing up, you're either going to mirror your parents or you're going to go the opposite way. So between my sister and I, she followed the same path, I guess, as my mother. I went a different way with my own family. So they're not going to change, so you need to lower your expectations. I'm going to talk about the 5 ways that you can survive this low effort family system. But I think the biggest thing is that you do need to lower your expectations. That's point number 1, is that if you want to survive, you either have to make drastic changes or just adapt. And, in my case, every year I would think, okay, is this going to be the year where someone actually cares, where someone pitches in and helps? And I don't do things just to get recognition or credit. I do things for my own family. And when I would have my extended family over for holidays, I knew that my sister and her husband and my mother were going to show up and do nothing, but they also brought their kids, my nephews and my niece, and I did it for them because they always would say, we look so forward to coming to Auntie Lori and Uncle Vito's house. You guys always do the best, Christmas and, Easter or whatever holiday it was. So I always did it for the kids and myself because I enjoy hosting and I enjoy preparing food. But if you don't want to make drastic changes, you do have to just lower your expectations. Hi there, I'm Lori. This is Ever After 50. I'm a full-time working mom. I've got 2 young adults still living in the home. I am trying to redefine my life, my purpose, my marriage, my friendships that have all been abandoned over the years, now that I have a lot more free time on my hands. So I'm bringing you along on all of my adventures. And I hope that you'll subscribe and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any of my new videos. My next point is that you can just match their effort. If they're not doing anything and they're not contributing and they're making no efforts or attempts to either have a relationship with you, plan things, host, cook, whatever it is, just match their effort. Now, this could backfire because low effort people, they're not going to change, and they may not even clue in to you matching their effort because they don't even realize that they're making no effort. So this could go both ways, and you could be matching their effort and not offering to host or reach out to them, and they're completely clueless anyways and don't even know that that's what you're doing. So it could go both ways. Either the relationship will fizzle off, or they may, the light bulb might go off and they will realize, oh, okay, this person hasn't hosted or they haven't contacted me for a while. And as far as family, actually, this is what I did. I always hosted every, like I said, every Thanksgiving, Christmas, Easter, you name it. And then what would happen is my sister would come into town. So she lives 6 hours away. My mother lives here in the city with me. So my sister would come into town. And then it got to the point where she wouldn't even tell me she was coming until maybe the day or 2 before. She'd be having conversations with my mom, apparently, and they would be planning her visit to the city, not telling me. I had no clue what was going on, even though I'm the one hosting everyone. So a couple of years ago, so my daughter was living in Toronto. We had an apartment there. So one year for Thanksgiving, same thing, my sister, maybe 3 days before, said, oh, I don't think I told you, but we're coming down for Thanksgiving. I was like, no, you didn't tell me. So we went to Toronto, so we didn't even tell them. So then they arrived for Thanksgiving and messaged that they were here. And I was like, oh, sorry, we're actually in Toronto. So I think they got the message, but also these people, they take it personally. And then they don't clue in. Like, we're just horrible, rotten, mean people because we finally set up boundaries. Either they clue in or they don't clue in, and then you still become the problem, of course. And then it's like, you're just a horrible person. Why would you do that? What's wrong with you? My third point is that you need to protect your peace, and basically at all costs. Before I forget, Poppy, I don't know, does anyone know about this? I think Coca-Cola owns it now. It was created in someone's garage. And then, I don't know if they were Canadian or American, and then they sold the company to Coca-Cola. But anyways, I love Poppy, but it's very pricey. So I only have it as a treat, maybe every, few days. But with ice, delicious. So anyways, about protecting your peace. I used to think that I owed my family, my time, my energy, an explanation. You don't owe people anything. You don't need to explain to your family what you're doing, where you are, why you're doing it. For some reason, family thinks that they just get to have like an open door to your life and everything you're doing, how much money you're making, what you're doing here, what you're doing there, what's happening with your career, how you're raising your kids, what events you're planning, what trips you're going on. And I've learned over the years that I don't need to share any of that with my family. And I find that there's a bit of a connection between low effort and narcissistic tendencies in families. And I'll share a video here where I've talked about how you can recognize if your parent has narcissistic tendencies, because this is the case with me, with my mother. And don't come in the comments with all your hate comments about how horrible people are if they don't talk to their parents, or that they're labeling their parents as narcissists or whatever, or that your family, your family's your family, because you don't know what people are experiencing and you have no business commenting negatively on people's life experiences. So stay away from the comment section. Anyways, so about protecting your peace again, at all costs, because as we get older, even at any age really, you don't need this drama, you don't need this, criticism, you don't need this control. Focus on your own peace of mind, focus on your own family, and don't worry about allowing all of this other stuff to interfere. You have to set boundaries, protecting your peace. My fourth point is that you need to build your own support system. If your family is not showing up the way they should and they haven't provided that emotional support that you've needed, find another way. And that means your support system could be your friends, your neighbors, your church community. It could be people online. It could be a mentor. It could be anyone other than your family who has shown up for you. Our family isn't always the ones that give us what we need. And I think this is the case with many people. And when you have been raised with low effort family members or narcissistic family members, you learn that you're on your own, that you have no emotional support, you don't have any physical support, they're not there for you, there's no contribution to your life, basically. There's no interest in your life, they don't ask questions. So you become very tough, and in some cases, you're going to be very closed off and not trust people. But that's why it's important to build a life outside of your family, because if the family is not giving that to you, you can find that in other places. And it's really important for us to have a support system because no one wants to be alone. And I think honestly, that's why a lot of people do come here to YouTube, because they're looking for answers, they're looking for solutions, they don't want to feel alone. And you do find that in online communities. Another one of the very important points, and the final point, which is number 5, is that you have to set boundaries without needing permission. It's very hard because there's that expectation that you're there, you're available, it's your family, but you don't owe anyone anything. And it's a matter of protecting your own peace, how you want to live your life, how you want to show up for other people or show up for your own family. And when all this outside drama from your extended family starts to creep in and affect your immediate family, that's when it's time to put the brakes on and say, okay, enough is enough, and create those boundaries. And the boundaries could be, you're not going to show up for a certain event, you're not going to show up for a certain holiday, you are not going to take the phone calls, you are not going to engage in any conversation, which is usually combative, because my experience is that low effort people, they don't even think they're doing anything wrong. And the thing is, you're going to internalize about things for days or weeks. They don't even know they did anything wrong. They think that they're so perfect and life is amazing. They don't realize in many cases that their low effort is affecting you until you speak up. And when you speak up, you're usually the bad guy. So you have to set those boundaries. Otherwise, it's very difficult to survive these type of relationships. Trust me, I'm 54 and I've been dealing with this my entire adult life. So but it's taken a long time to put those boundaries in place because it is very hard. It's your family, and you've just got this feeling that your family is everything. They have to be part of your life. You're a bad person if they're not. But you have to protect your own mental health, your own peace, and your own family. The thing to remember too is that yes, it's your family. And I'm not here to say that everyone should cut off their family. But when it comes to a certain point where you can no longer handle the behavior, the toxic environment, the toxic conversations, everything that's happening, you have to put those boundaries in place and protect yourself. Because in my experience, whenever I would have, my family over, when I did host, all of these holidays, I would be left feeling just an emotional wreck, basically, like emotionally beaten up. And for days I would internalize and torture myself thinking, okay, like, what did I do wrong? Why are these people like this? Why does everyone seem to hate me and not care about what I'm doing? But as I said, they don't even realize in many cases that they are low effort because this is how they live. And they don't know unless you tell them. But some of them do because there's a lot of sort of cynical behavior with these people. It's your family. I know it's hard, but you have to think about yourself, think about your own family, and protect your peace at all costs. Okay, friends, we've made it to the very end. And if you're still here, thank you so much. There are so many creators here on YouTube. There are so many more experienced creators. So if you're here and you're watching, I appreciate so much that you've taken the time out of your day, evening, afternoon to watch my video. I hope that I've helped a little bit. It's been a long road of dealing with low effort individuals, but I've gotten much better at protecting my own peace, setting up so many boundaries, and it's very hard, but it's well worth it. So if you're here again, thank you. Comment below, where you're from, if you have anything to add, if you've experienced this with your own family. And I hope that you've already subscribed. If you haven't, please do so. And until next time, bye for now.